Good morning. I thought I would take to video today to talk about my new visual times tables that I am so excited about and to explain the concept behind them. When children move from doing addition and subtraction to starting to look at multiplication and division, we introduce the topic these days as repeated addition. So I'm just going to show you, this is what we work on. This idea that if I have 3 and another set of 3 and another set of 3 and another set of 3, I have 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3. This is the same as 3 times 4. And then if I look at, this is called an array. If I look at it the other way, I have got one group of 4, 2 groups of 4, 3 groups of 4. So I have 4 plus 4 plus 4, which is 4 times 3. So this is repeated addition. This is what is the stage that we start to introduce at year 2 typically. Sometimes it's in year 1 we start looking at arrays and we look at simple arrays, but they are very much this type of thing. They are looking at this type of thing. Okay, so one of the things that I have recognised with regard to times tables is there is a speed to move from the idea of repeated addition and division being repeated subtraction into the times tables and memorising of them quite quickly. And some children lack the complete understanding of what multiplication is when they're trying to memorise their times tables. Some children will be able to memorise them but not necessarily understand them in context. So my visual times tables cards are designed to help move from repeated addition and understanding of addition into the concept of multiplication. So I'm just going to give you an example. Right, so I have got here, I've got here the 7 times table. So these are in the loose flashcards. They are A6. They're on thick card that's matte laminated. So therefore they are waterproof. You can spill stuff just like my other flashcards. So what you have here is you have this idea that repeated addition, this idea of a sequence of numbers. Okay, so if I add 7 to 7 to 7, I go up. If I add 7 to 7, I get 14, I get 21, I get 28. And what this does is, in the timetable, as you go through, it gives you a complete representation of each one as we move forward. Okay, now, some children know it as 3 times 7. Some children will know it as 7 times 3. Okay, the card has got a front and back. Some children will learn in a way that their preference will be this way. Some will learn where their preference is this way. I always put my times table, so if it's my 7 times tables or 8 times tables, I always put it first. That's my preference. Okay, and you can see as you go up, you can see, physically see the array getting bigger. Okay. Now, the last sheet that I have is just a reiteration of the sequence, the number sequence for the 7s. Okay, hopefully you can see it there. I'm going to hold it up so you can see it in the light. The idea behind this is, if you remember the sequence of numbers, and I do this in a video on my website, The Alternative Way to Memorising Times Tables, but if you remember this sequence of numbers, you will always be able to deduce what 7 times 4 is, because you'll be able to go up 1, 2, 3, 4 to get to that number. Okay, and just to prove that any doubters, the back card actually represents and actually shows you that if you counted them all, you get to the same answer. So effectively, that's what we're saying about multiplication, and this idea of multiplication counting, addition, and then multiplication being a sequence. I want to know how many I've got. Yeah, to begin with, I have got no other choice but to count, because I can't do anything else. So I count from 1 and I keep going until I get to the end. Then I can do repeated addition. If I know how many are in my line and how many rows I've got, I can actually add up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 sevens, and I can get to 42. Okay, the next step is moving from repeated addition into multiplication and understanding, and then memorizing the fact that 6 times 7 is 42 or 7 times 6 is 42, because that's what I've memorized in my sequence. So hopefully this makes sense. So my cards are available in 2 different ways. Okay, you have got this lovely box of freestanding cards, so you can take them out and they're done from the 2 times tables right up to the 12 times tables. So the loose cards are useful for things like sequencing, for looking at individuals, for taking them out, for looking at them back and forward, for putting them in a line, putting them on a table. So there is a reason for the loose cards. Okay, but as an alternative, I've also got the laminated, not laminated, sorry, spiral bound little booklet. And what's lovely about this is it flips over. Yeah, and you can actually go, depending on which way you like your sequence, you can go back ways or forwards. Okay, depending on whether or not you like your 8 times tables as 8 times 1, 8 times 2, or 1 times 8, 2 times 8. Okay, and again, these are spiral bound, lovely little A6 booklet. And if you get these ones, they come in at the moment 2 handy boxes, storage boxes, if you want. Okay, you can get them separately as well. They can be posted separately if you don't want the box. Hopefully that explains it. If you've got any questions about this, or talk about visual, the idea of this visual, some children are very visual learners and they see things. When they see things, they get things. Quite often as adults, we will be able to understand, when we look in our head and we close our eyes and we try and visualize it, it becomes clearer to us. And this is exactly what these are trying to do. They're trying to give you a visual representation of what multiplication is. Multiplication is repeated addition. And once we actually get that visual, get that understanding, it becomes so much easier to memorize what we are doing. Okay, because it's memorized on understanding. There's a reference point you can go back to. You can close your eyes and physically see the array in your head and go, oh yeah, I remember 8 times 4 is, oh yeah, 32. It also helps towards this idea of counting on, looking at that sequence of numbers that are represented by a times table. Not just the ability to do the rote learning of 1 7 is 7, 2 7's 14, 3 7's 21, but actually looking at those numbers, 7, 14, 21, 28, 35. In fact, if I memorize those numbers and I understand what they mean, these come in very useful for being able to deduce my times tables quite quickly. Okay. When you move up in the world, you realize that it's useful to have those times tables memorized and have automatic recall. But at any point in time, we can work things out. So it might take us slightly longer, but if we have a way to work it out, we can always do it. So this is a way of facilitating children to be able to work it out. If they can't memorize it, let's give them a way to work it out. Let's give them the tools and techniques to be able to do it. I might not ever be able to remember that 7 times 6 is 42, but if I understand the concept of 7 times 6 is adding 7 together 6 times, I could actually add it up. I could write 7 plus 7 plus 7 and so forth 6 times, and I can add it up because I understand the concept. It might take longer, but you will get to the same answer. And that's what we're trying to do to our children. We're trying to give them alternatives, especially children who are challenged with regard to their memory, their short-term memory, their long-term memory. When we give them the tools and techniques to be able to derive things, we help them get to the right answer. It might take longer, but at times the right answer is more important than the speed at which you get there. If you have any questions, you know where to find me, but these exciting times tables are now available on my website to purchase. So if you're interested, please look on the website, and I look forward to seeing your order. Thank you.